today's times will define how the future of this profession is going to shape up. And for those of us who are running businesses as well, I think automation is something which has always been there on the cards. And imagine if we are able to get an internal auditor on the fly who's always checking what we are doing on the basis of the parameters what we given and keep throwing up exceptions. I mean, that's amazing, right? So we did a very interesting conversation with Kalyan on analytics last month or a couple of months back, and that was extremely well received. Even post the webinar, people viewed a lot, and then they kept giving back their feedback. And at that time, Kalyan had promised that he would do a session on robotic audits with us. And this was the follow-up conversation on what we had with this original session. So I would sincerely thank Kalyan for sparing his time for this. Welcome, Kalyan. It's all yours from now on. Please get going.
Thank you. Thank you, Diwakar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to be on this devious webinar forum, right? Very interesting topic this is. This kind of something close to my heart the last 20 years. And I remember the day I after doing my CA in Delhi, I went and joined a company called Maruti Udyog Limited. I was in the finance department. So apparently, they had extremely heavy Oracle platforms with complex data management, and we were having continuous challenges how to go deep dive into the data. And that day, one a few months later, after I joined, I'm talking about 1999. I mean, way back, 21 years back. My boss flew to Singapore and brought a very prestigious package, and was kind of appreciated inside the company for bringing the tool, and it's called audit software. So it was kept in shelf. Nobody used it, and I dug into the tool and tried to explore what it is all about, and fell in love with it. It's called the Data Analytics Audit Command Language software, and it's fantastic. And that's my entry to the world of data analytics in audit 21 years back. And from there, I gained a lot of expertise. I coached quite a number of chartered accountants on using audit tool, ACL, across India, North, East, West, South, internationally too. Yeah, so was using it everywhere. Some very fascinating capabilities it had. So over a period of time, I felt that somebody has. I realized that there was a big limitation in audit tools per se. You have a brilliant tool, and you have corporate data, but there's always the middle thing which is missing, somebody to make the use of it. So on one side you have a fantastic tool, on the other side you have the tons and voluminous data, but you have lack of right using skills, knowledge, whatever you keep, you tell that, or the time or complexity. It could be many things. So there's a challenge. And realize that slowly, I'm talking 99, 2000s, early decades of 2000. Uh, Slowly, technology started improving. Big data came into play, and then came the cloud transformation, etc. And for so. And now we are living in a concept of artificial intelligence and machine learning. I think it's time that we adopt those technologies into our profession too. And it is very important and is extremely fascinating. I'm going to give you a theme as to how these robotics work. You know, how the concept of how robotic audit generally happens, right? So I'll take you a quick presentation and also show you a demo of a real-time robot doing its work and bringing us the value as one of a feature presentation. And then I'll open it to questions to be asked. I'm sharing my screen. Yeah, so let me call it as robotic audit and take you through. So it's a digital enterprise analytics. You can call it as a risk and forensic platform. Futuristic real-time governance, risk and monitoring, compliance monitoring tool that runs on ERPs, monitoring millions of real-time transactions. So how does it happen? Okay, let me tell you current business infrastructure. On one side, you have procure to pay cycle, right? Which is schematics of somebody makes a requirement, then a quotation is sent, a purchase order is made, then you get goods, you make a GRN and push it for payment after verification, and then a payment goes and you closely report it. On the other side, you have order to cash cycle where you have customer place order, you check credit, you do fulfillment of order, ship the goods, make invoice while and moves into accounts receivable, and then you make a collection and then you close it. So push it accounts. On the other side, we have integrated general ledger, right, with an accounts payable and accounts receivable function, and some fixed asset accounting, capex point of view, and then large bank account management with a general ledger to pass the closure bookkeeping entries. It's not nothing new for a business process head who might have participated this session. Well, the challenges are there in this. Of course, okay. This suits to 80 to 90% of business sectors. This may not be suitable for banking. Okay, we have to. But I've taken this as an example for explaining the concept as such. Yeah. So what are the challenges? Yeah, the business side challenges. So we have dispersed systems where things lying in. Sometimes you have purchase happening in one system, accounts in another system, sales, CRM in another system, multiple applications, different ERPs, different servers, voluminous transactions. Nowadays the numbers go to millions of transactions per month. So even for a mid-sized company too. And one most important thing is gaps in controls, right? So how these gaps in controls we'll have to figure out. Now, fear of postmortem is also always there on the minds of the business owner. So someday somebody will come and check my books and they'll rip me apart. They're going to make me stand as a culprit, though because of no mistake of mine. Yeah, these are all the challenges the business owner faces, and missed compliances. So he misses out. The challenges because it's so voluminous, so much of data, so many people are involved, so many systems are there. It's always a doubt at the corner of mind that is everything okay. By the way, if for example you have a delay in rectifying your challenge or a compliance or a gap in a control, then it means a damage. Now, there are pretty challenges from the audit side too, challenges from the monitoring side. Now, we auditors or whoever is a finance head or business owner always wants to ensure that nothing is amiss in the business and wants to proactively squeeze out weeds, etc. The challenge is time to monitor. As the number of transactions are growing, big, large, voluminous, you can't verify every transaction in business. It's huge, humongous. So you need so much time to also to monitor. Do we have it? Honestly, no. So we resort to sample studies. But how effective are they? Second most important thing is the lack of risk knowledge. So in fact, though we may have a lot of time, it is also sometimes challenging as to what to verify. Yeah, what to verify, how to verify. What might be a problem in ton loads of data. How do you pinpoint? It's finding a needle in a haystack. Lack of skilled manpower. You may not have the right people with the right skills, right technology, so you'll always ended up in compromises and limitations in technology too. So You may not have the right tools and techniques to be able to play with futuristic mobile cloud technologies, the big data, open source, yeah, so challenges. And you also have sometimes basic data handling skills are missing. So you may have a risk knowledge, but if you don't have adequate data handling skills, again we are stuck. And so we end up having incomplete checks, just having a compromised the finishing of our monitoring exercises, and with half confidence we may go back to finish our reports. So hence there is a limitation in assurance, both sides, from our to our own, and to the business owners who are relying on us to sign the balance sheets or present it to their shareholders, or to the bankers. There is always a limitation in assurance. So how do we crack this? And more importantly, when we have so many risks happening at so many places, if you don't have a method and mechanism, it's very challenging. How, and we also don't know where it may happen, when it may happen. Yeah, so there is a challenge. How do we do this? So hence we get to response. So how does it work? Yeah, now I told you the problem statement. Let's see the way of management. So I introduce your concept of a funnel, right? How it starts, we have downloads of data. It starts off on that, right? And how do I filter out these downloads of data? By a concept called red flag scanning. So when I get the data, I do not look into every transaction, but I will filter them based on some red flags. And the red flags have to be defined. And luckily we are having some systems and mechanisms to configure these red flags, and yeah, which I'm going to share with you in my coming screens. Yeah, then we'll do a level one scenario checks with the red flags. A combi of red flags will tell the example. Let's say a vendor master is empty with regard to address, right? Now, vendor master empty because of an address is missing is a red flag. So there is supposed to be a vendor whose master should contain all the required information. But let's say I identify one of the red flag is the data not available. The master is not filled up. It is a red flag, yes. But now we need to align this red flag with certain more elements of information. So now, did I make any purchase from this supplier in the last 1 year, right? And what are the other the add-on information is apart from address, is the registration number is also missing? Are there any more data missing? Am I making payment to this gentleman in cash or in check, right? So those will be level one scenario checks. Similarly, we'll have also see level two scenario checks as to who has added this supplier into the system, and does that gentleman have certain more red flags aligned to it? Means, does he have the power, direct access to handle things, etc.? After applying all that, then we'll get potential risk transactions. So I identify a red flag, one red flag, then certain scenarios have matched, second level scenarios have also matched. Now finally I have on hand a certain transactions which I it seems to be for me potential exposures where there is a payment made to certain suppliers, maybe in cash, but the supplier master database is not filled up, and this supplier is added by Y gentleman, and the gentleman seems to be having all power to able to make a budget clearance for payments. So now this is a framework of how you need to put it together, right? Then comes the outcomes. Now here, after all this filtering, right? So I will be able to get my data out, and luckily in all this you can be using robots to do it. So that's the concept, and then the management integration. So now, an important concept I would like to share here is you can't just conclude these potential transactions uh, uh, as real errors. No, it doesn't work like that. So it could be probability of these transactions becoming risks is high. It may be 80%, it may be 90%, but it is never 100% unless until you end up taking these final 10, 15 transactions and go dig into one or two, dig into the vouchers, the base documents, the base records, yeah, etc., and conclude the exposure to the company. In all this, you should notice one element. 90% of the work is not handled by us. 95%. They are handled by robotics, and that's the fun in this. So like that, you can place robots across all the business areas, across all the value chain, right from P2P to purchase to pay to order to collection to financial records to sales management, HR, etc. All of this. So, in all this, you would ask me a question: what is meant by a red flag? I'm going to showcase you a real working robotic framework to how it works, etc. But let me give you some examples of red flags. And believe me, this is not all. There are hundreds of red flags which change from one business area to another business area. And here is where building of a bot gets strengthened. The more the red flags, the better the bot will do the job for you. Some examples. Of course, I'm going to take the next 5, 10 minutes to showcase you some red flags. What do I mean by red flags? So there are excessive number of voids, cancellations, discounts, and returns in any product or by any employee of any region. So then there is a red flag. Sudden activity in dormant bank accounts or dormant vendor. There was no activity by the supplier in the last 1 year, and suddenly there is an activity. Discrepancies in banking deposits and posting. So you find out continuous discrepancies between bank statements, and the discrepancies are increasing. Abnormal number of expense items, supplies, or reimbursement to employee. So yeah, then presence of employee checks in petty cash. So slowly there is a shift of payments from normal employee payments to petty cash payments to an employee. There is a red flag. Excessive or unjustified cash transactions. So there is a method to verify that. There are statistical tools available to identify outliers. Outlier is defined as 2 to 3 times the standard deviation over mean. So using this outlier statistical modeling, you will be able to identify those transactions which are unjustified or too excessive and are not close to the patterns of generic payments, and you will use them for the purpose of acting on. Large number of write-offs of accounts. So there are certain specific transactions where there are huge write-offs, or there are sales happening in the month, and in the next period there are write-offs, etc. Bank reconciliations that are not reconciled on a timely basis. So you find that on ERP there are transactions which are not reconciled, not closed, then they are open, then there is a challenge. Some inconsistent overtime hours for a cost center. So suddenly you see that a particular employee working in a department is claiming more the overtime. Overtime charge during slack period. There is a period, low period, business is low, sales are low, but overtime is high. So that's a red flag. Overtime charge for employees who would not have overtime wages. So they do not fall into the slab of overtime, but they claimed overtime. Budget variations for payroll costs by call center, employees with duplicate addresses, employees with few or no payroll deductions. There are no deductions, so this could be possibility of a ghost employee playing. Increase in number of compliance about products or services. So you will identify those areas of compliance, which service, which line of business, which line, which division. That's another red flag. Increase in purchase inventory, but no increase in sales. So the consistent increase in stocks. In there is a ratio indicator you can use that's called stock in days, and stock in days trend, if you see that it is slowly increasing, of course the algorithms can catch them, yeah. Then abnormal inventory shrinkage. So there is a shrinkage of inventory too. That is also kind of a red flag. Lack of physical security. So you're losing assets. There is a continuous write-off of inventory or an asset without related transaction. So there's a challenge. Charges without shipping documents. So there are charges made, and you find this particular term inside the purchase order is missing. Payment to vendors who are on an approved vendor list. So it means they are not in vendor master, but there is a dummy payment out. They created a sudden singular payment to a supplier, and you see a pattern of this happening within a business division or a branch or in an office. And high volume of purchases from a new vendor. This is also a challenge. So you find that suddenly voluminous transactions of the recent added vendors is going up. Then there is a challenge. And there are no supporting information for adjusting entries just randomly without narration. When I said documentation, I meant narration, no details, right? Untimely BRS, increase in customer, oh, sorry, I got write-off of inventory shortages with no reason. Okay, so now understanding this, the red flags, yeah, and that's the first level of check. If you standardize these red flags and keep adding, and you have a bouquet of red flags working in each and every area, and then does a first level filtering out of all the transactions, then we will move to a next level of scenario testing, third scenario test, first scenario, second scenario, and finally come to the risk objectives. I would like to show you an example of how bot works. Showcasing you, it's an example of a bot library. So we have on the left-hand side the entire business process: purchase to pay, O2C, books closure, stat compliance, HR, GST compliance, SODs, inventory, DOA, delegation of powers, etc. And you, okay, now this bot is integrated to ERPs. Now, how does it work? Let me go back to just showcasing you when we have all these. So you can do an integration of data through a system of direct linking with a specific, I won't get into these details, so it is out of the thought process of this meeting. So we'll standardize the data to be extracted from the ERPs, make a direct linkage to the specific report details, and then my data is directly come into my systems, right? And it is configured. So my data is mapped to SAP to my bot. And once this bot is integrated in real time, then my risks are shown. So this is a pretty big list of 54, and just I brought you a little sample though. This library, risk library, bot library, red flag library has got far more than what I'm showcasing you. So here it's identified based on variety of patterns, verification, etc. It is telling you there are payments to inactive vendors. Okay, it's safe. There are no transactions like this. It's verified it fully. There are vendor master duplication. It is safe, no challenge. So it's in control. Like that, we can delay in approval of PO. It is another red flag which will lead to identification of a pattern of a forensic issue. Employee is also registered as vendor. So it is basically verifying merging data of employee addresses, telephone numbers. It does a layered analysis of your duplicate addresses, duplicate pin codes, duplicate telephone numbers, duplicate address book and etc., and brings into into one analysis, and then identifies duplicates and throws, right? Overdue vendor payments. So there are overdue vendor payments, which leads to maybe some disputes with the supplier, with the vendor, and which will have some repercussions and challenges later. So yeah, so now this will give you a broad perspective. Now let me go one. If I go to a bot now, purchase orders without a purchase request. So bot has identified that they have released a purchase order without a purchase request. So many transactions. Yeah, just as a sample though, I'm just showcasing you here. There are exceptions analyzed. There is a number of net value of transactions. You can drill down further that this is a vendor wise summary, but you can always further classify. You know, I want a PO wise data, so I can get a PO wise data. Let's say I want it PO type wise data. And I got a PO type wise. Now I want it only type wise, but I don't want it PO number wise. I can remove PO number wise. So I can kind of summarize. Now I don't want this vendor name also. I can summarize this. There are two types of POs, GCAP and GNOM, and then so much of value and so many exceptions have been noted. Now, this is how this bot can help you to drill down further in variety of ways. You can analyze this. You can take description, the name, item number two, and kind of analyze. Yeah. So yeah, that's to showcase you. Then you can export it and prepare your audit report. We are also trying to see if you can push it into an auto audit engine who have a work paper management system. Then I kind of click here, and then a report is written in real time. So I'll say, yeah, push it now. An annexure is made, and for you, you can just focus on your the management discussions, etc., to take it further. Yeah. So yeah, quick. I'll also have some examples, salesmen who have given highest discounts, right? A red flag, and it's identified. Okay, so 27,000 transactions analyzed and 2,000 transactions were brought, though because of the value, it is identified as low risk. Whatever, we can define that too in our bots. Now I have it category wise. So many categories of products are there now. How much is a weight? How much is a discount given? We can increase it, make it salesperson wise. So I got my salesperson. I don't want it by category. So I removed my categories and I got it by salesperson. So typically I have around 30 salesmen here, and yeah, I can kind of do my who has got the highest exception. So there are 24 exceptions in this guy called SH. So now I can go identify why he has done so many discounts and deep dive. So it's pretty, in fact, I'm just showing you certain examples so we can make it a little more focused and push it to a specific risk. From here, we also will check this guy's performance indicator, whether he had got stringent targets to achieve his business goals, and he has promised a very big incentive, and if the incentive is linked to sales but not to discounts, then there is a risk be identified. So like that, we can enable bots to be able to do that layered verification and check. Yeah. So like that. So I have another place where identify that they are cancel orders. So these are cancel orders certain times challenge, which will tell you that so much of business is lost. Out of 3,000, 2,000 plus transactions, 200 exceptions are identified, and so forth. Yeah. Okay. So like fourth, yeah. So there's another time we will take to showcase you to that level of detailing. But how does it work? Yeah, how does it work? So let's say we have industries, the entire analytics engine is here, bots are created on the library. So there is data of the client. It can sync in real time to central repository. It can also work the other way. So bots can work here and then data come here. That is the way we can configure. I'll not get into technology thought process, but here is the place where bots can play the game. And these bots kind of tada 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 get out all the filter and this out, and then send it by alert, risk report, or an exception listing, or a digital forensics, or a predictive analytics. Yeah, the cycle is complete. So we come, get checked, filtered, and then push the data. So industry is now, management is updated, what's happening. So the key is the red flags library. This is the key subject of the whole bots thing. Yeah. And believe me, you can also contribute to this. In fact, I'll run a circulate things through Divakar's company into DVS to be able to see who would like to come on board to participate, to be author of these bots, also add certain more red flags to this engine, and so we'll kind of make it more robust as the years go. So that's the concept I thought I would like to take you through in today's presentation. It's a quick play here, and I would like to see as the days go if this red flags library keeps increasing. In fact, we over a period of time, the last 3 years, I've been accumulating these red flags. We have created a repository of 1,500 plus risk the red flags currently spreading in variety of areas: finance, purchases, HR, inventory management, and cash flow management, working capital management, including certain red flags related to industry specific, like manufacturing companies, trading companies, retail, right, service related companies, etc. And it is not an end; it's a journey. So the bigger the red flags library, the better the bots will become, and that's where AI and ML's going to play in the years to come. But this forum is just to introduce you what is meant by robotics audit. I was uh, close enough to be able to plant this idea that this is the way to go for futuristic audit concept. Thank you for putting your time, right? You can either write to me, or I kind of, if somebody has some questions, etc., I'm very happy to take them for you.